All right, how you doing? It's been a while. We got another video for you, and we're starting a new topic, a whole new unit, and Unit 11 is going to be about spatial thinking. What does that mean? That means that we're going to be thinking about the space that we live in. Spatial thinking, thinking about the space that we live in. Well, that's just a fancy way of saying we're going to start talking about some geometry subjects and topics because the space that we live in happens to be planet Earth. And geo means Earth. Metry means measurement. Geometry is just Earth measurement. It's just taking measurements and doing math that has to do with the world that we live in. Okay, so yeah, it has to do with shapes and stuff like that, but it basically has to do with thinking about the space that we live in. All right, so today's topic in spatial thinking is going to be the building blocks of geometry, points, lines, and planes, and a whole bunch of other vocabulary about the basics of geometry as well. So just a little disclaimer on this video. If you're watching this and you already know what I'm talking about, you don't necessarily have to write that down in your notes. Basically, I just want you to take notes on anything that you didn't already know. So whenever I say something that you didn't already know, pause this video and write it down. Okay, here we go. What's that? That's a point. I'm going to call this point point A. A point is just a location. That's all. It has no size. You can't measure it. It has no depth, no width, no height. Even though that dot could technically be measured with a ruler, a point doesn't really have any size because a point just indicates a location, not a size. Okay. So what's a point for? Well, you can take another point, like let's call it point B, and we can go from point A to point B. When you connect 2 points together, that's called a segment. A segment is when you connect 2 points together, or you could say a segment is the distance when you make a straight connection between 2 endpoints. A segment always has 2 endpoints. Okay? We write the name of a segment by naming the 2 endpoints and putting a little segment above the top of them. And that's how you name this segment. This particular segment is called segment AB. That's how you write it. But you don't write the segment thingy when you're stating the measurement of a segment. So if I told you that this segment was 8 inches long, you would just say AB equals 8 inches. You wouldn't put the little line over it. It's kind of a weird little technical thing in geometry. If you didn't know that, you might want to write that down. Okay, let's say you have segment AB, but then you extend that segment through point B so that point B isn't an endpoint anymore. What you now have is not a segment because it has only one endpoint. And if it only has one endpoint, then it's a ray. A ray has one endpoint and it continues on in the other direction forever and ever and ever. We write the name of a ray kind of like the way we write the name of a segment, except that instead of a segment over the 2 letters, you make a ray over the 2 letters. Just be sure to put the endpoint first. Since A is the endpoint, we start with AB. We're not going to call this one BA. We're going to call it AB. Okay. What if you extended in both directions and now neither A nor B are endpoints? They're just 2 points that has a line going through. Oh, that's called a line. A line is basically when you extend in both directions a series of points going to the left, going to the right, and everywhere in between. A line is a series of points that extends forever in 2 directions. And there are actually tons of points all over this line because we could keep on marking them all over the place. You write the name of a... Oh, yeah, this kind of just makes sense, right? You still use 2 of the letters for 2 of the points, and you just put a little line symbol up on the top there. Just make sure you put little arrows at the end so they know you're talking about the whole line and not just a segment of the line. And you could actually call this one line AB or line BA. Or if I told you that there was a point X over here and a point Y over here, you could call it line XY or line YX. It's all the same line, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, now what if you have line AB and you draw another line going through point A or another line going through point A? You could have all kinds of lines that are intersecting line AB. Or you could have a line that goes through C and D that doesn't intersect. That's called parallel. Parallel lines never intersect each other. I think you know what parallel lines look like, but do you know how to write the statement that line AB is parallel to line CD? Here's how you write that statement. You write line AB, then you make a little symbol that means parallel. And the symbol for parallel lines is parallel lines. Kind of makes sense. Okay, so that's pretty easy. Question for you. Is it possible for two lines to never intersect but still not be parallel? Actually, the answer is yes, and this is kind of a trick question. See this red dot? I want you to picture that there's a line going through this red dot, but it's not parallel to line AB. It's actually like a little laser, and it's going to shoot you right in the face. Imagine a line coming out of the screen right towards your face from that red dot. That line wouldn't be parallel to line AB, but it also wouldn't intersect AB. And there's a word for that. It's called skew. Those two lines would be skew. Skew lines never touch because they're in different planes. Wait, what's a plane? This screen that you're watching this video on is a plane. Let me say that again. This screen is a plane. But that doesn't really answer the question. What is a plane? A plane is a flat surface. It has no thickness, and it continues without end in all directions. Write those things down if you didn't already know that. Here's the best example I can give. Without a plane, points and lines and segments and rays and stuff would have no place to live. So like let's say you had this box. The right side of this box is a plane. It's a flat surface. Except planes actually kind of keep on going to the left, right, up, and down forever. The left side of this box is actually another plane, and that blue plane is parallel to that orange plane. So I guess planes can be parallel to each other as well. But there's a plane that's not parallel to that. That would be the plane of the front of the box. Okay, so what's a plane? A plane is just a flat surface. Easy enough. Whee! All right, let's review. A point is just a location. A segment connects two points. A ray has only one endpoint. A line goes on forever in two directions. Segments, rays, and lines can intersect each other, or they could be parallel, or if they're not in the same plane, they could be skew. But what's a plane? Oh yeah, this is a plane. Ta-da! All right, to make sure you've got this down, I just want you to do a couple practice problems. Number 1, name this thing. How would you write the name of this thing? Try it. Number 2, how would you write the name of this thing? Try it. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening. I hope you learned something.